So this video is to introduce the squat, different squat variations, common faults, and a couple of ways you can make your squats more challenging as you get stronger throughout the program. So just to start with, the squat's a really good lower body strength movement. It's great for building strength, endurance, and fatigue resistance that are all really relevant to hiking up Mount Bogong. So just to start with, the squat, stance, feet just outside shoulder width, toes are facing forward or slightly out to the side. From here, we're going to put a slight bend in our knees, send our hips back just behind our center as if you were going to sit onto a chair. And we're sitting down as we press those arms out in front of us. You'll lower down to your bottom position. Your bottom position is as deep as you can go without your heels lifting off the ground or without your lower back tucking underneath. So I'll do a couple of reps here. I'm quite mobile, so I can sit all the way down to that bottom squat position. If you're a little bit restricted through your hips or your calves, you might find that you'll get a little bit lower before tucking those hips under. If you notice that, just work with the range that you've got. Go as low as you can just before the point where they want to pull you out of position. Cool. From the front, the squats, we want to keep the knees track in line with the toes. We don't want the knees to collapse in at all. So you can actively press the knees out to the side. Knees tracking outside the toes is okay, in line with the toes is okay, but collapsing inside is not. So we want to actively press the knees out, look after the knees here, and come up and squeeze the glutes hard in that top position. You can load a squat up, and this is a way of making it a little bit more difficult, by adding weight. This can be in the form of a dumbbell, a barbell, any gym implement. You can get grocery bags at home, fill them with rice, water, something that's got a little bit of weight to it. Keep it nice and high in the chest, underneath your chin. We're scooping or pressing those elbows forward as we lower into that squat position. That's going to keep you upright. If your elbows come in, it's going to start bringing that weight forward, put more pressure on your back, and start to pull you out of position. So nice and high in the chest, push those hips forward. It's really going to make you work more through your core as well, which is a really good thing, especially if you're going to be hiking up the hill with a backpack. All right, another way to make it a little bit more difficult, and this is something to be mindful of all movements through the whole program, is tempo. The lowering part of each movement is also known as the eccentric phase or eccentric contraction. You're up to 60% stronger in that lowering part of the movement. So by slowing down the lowering part for the count of 2 or 3 seconds, give us a little bit more time under tension where we're stronger, and is a way of, I guess, giving us increased resistance to give us greater training gains over time. The next thing is a couple of different squat variations. These are incorporated throughout the program. First one's a jump squat. Find your bottom squat position, explode up, land nice and softly. Goal here is to have nice, quiet or silent feet as you go, and we're trying to hit our bottom squat position each time. So really try and shock absorb, focus on that lowering part of the movement. This is also going to help develop in that lowering phase or the eccentric contraction, a bit of tendon, resilience and tendon durability. This is really important for actually descending downhill. So really focus on that soft landing when you go through your jump squats. Next one's a pause squat. So our pause squat is simply going to our bottom squat position, coming up a little bit higher and holding. As you fatigue, you'll notice that you start creeping up a little bit higher, or you'll start losing position. Really stay active, keep that core engaged, keep the weight through your midfoot so you're not in your toes or too far into the heels, and just try and hold that really strong squat hold position. So that's the squat hold there. Some common faults or common issues with the squat. Heels coming off the ground. This can either be through or be a result of calf restriction or tightness through calf muscles, or it can be a technique thing. If you stay really upright through your squat and try and lower down, you'll notice the knees come forward, and eventually I hit an end point where the only way to get any deeper is to lift my heels off the ground, or it's to send my hips back into the correct position. So when you start every squat, just remember soft knees, hips back, get them over the chair or whatever it is you're imagining you're sitting on, and then lower down into your bottom position. You can practice this just by getting over the top of a chair, doing a couple of reps. If you're standing slightly in front of the chair and you drop straight down, you're going to miss it altogether. Send those hips back over it, sit down, come back up. Make sure that back stays nice and straight as you do it. Another thing is obviously the the tucking of the hips that you find. Even those that are quite mobile, in the bottom position, it's really tempting just to switch off. Make sure you stay nice and active, that's the first thing. Hands up nice and high out in front. Even with a slight weight, this will act as a counterbalance and hold you a little bit more upright. It's going to also encourage more activation through the muscles that keep your torso in an upright position. So that's one thing you can do. The second, and you still may not be able to get to the bottom position there, it's just going to allow you to get a bit deeper. The second thing you can do is just really focus on your mobility. Mobility, stretching, and cool down, which is all listed throughout the program. Calf tightness, hamstrings, hip flexors and quads, and glutes, as well as being underactive in the core, can all be things that contribute. Just by doing this program and being regular with your exercise, your squats, your lunges, your warm-ups and your cool-downs, you should notice over time that your mobility improves and increases, your range of movement increases. If you want to speed that up a little bit, feel free to implement more mobility sessions into your program, incorporating those key areas, or add a couple more warm-ups and cool-downs just to your day-to-day life. You can incorporate stretches just while you're waiting for the microwave or while you're waiting for food. You can sit down in a bottom squat position and lean up against your cupboard just to start stretching those calf muscles and getting used to that bottom position. These are all things that you can do to improve it. They're the movements. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. Hope you guys enjoy it, and don't be afraid to slow down the tempo on the way down, or try adding a little bit of weight. Over the weeks, you'll notice that you'll be able to add a little bit more weight, or maybe you don't believe you can. You can always change the weight or drop the weight down as you start to fatigue. But start on a challenging weight. As long as you're able to maintain correct position, feet flat, nice straight back through the whole movement, I don't mind if you guys start increasing weight. So enjoy, good luck.